Okay, you can see the presentation.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us start this lecture. Very good morning to all of you. And in the last few lectures, we have been talking about truss and methods of analyzing that truss. And one method that we have seen is in the last class is the method of joints, where we go from joint to joint in an intelligent way to solve the forces in the members as well as on the joints, right? So that is the what we have seen method of joints. Now this method, we saw this example, and one thing is that the method of joint can be little tedious or can be little long procedure if let's say I start from point A or point F, and then if I have to calculate forces in some other members. So let us say I'm interested in calculating force in BD or in CE or some other members. So you have to, it's a little bit long tedious process. So in this lecture, we are going to learn some methods, some techniques by which we can find the solution more quickly. It's like getting some shortcuts for the solution. Just give me a minute to connect. Okay. Yeah. So so that's what we are going to see, some methods. So the first method, or it's not a method, it is a sub topic of method of joints, is to analyze some special joints. So there are some special joints by which, just by looking at the joint, we can make some comment. So so this
Excuse
joint
me,
is,
sir.
yes.
Sir, your voice was down for something like 10-15 seconds. If something important was said, can you go again on that?
Okay, Piyush, I'll repeat.
Thank you, sir.
So what we are going to learn in couple of slides are some special joints. So this is a part of method of joints, and by learning these special joints, it will help us to simplify the solution procedure, and we'll be able to get solution more quickly. So the first type of joint is when you have a joint and the members are connected in a straight lines. So if I have got a joint, like in this figure you can see, I have a joint A and I have member AD and AB which is connected in a straight line, and AE and AC is also in a straight line. So if this is the case, and if I draw the free body diagram of pin A, so for the joint or pin A, if I draw the free body diagram, this is the figure B that you can see here, which is FAD is in this way.
Sir, it
FAB.
happened again.
Can you repeat? Hello? Okay.
Sir, your voice again got missed.
Okay, I don't know, maybe the internet is not,
Hello.
there might be some fluctuation in internet, not very sure. But anyway, the recording is going on, and hopefully the recording should be good. Okay, so I'm drawing the free body diagram for point or pin A, and if this is FAD and FAB. Now if I consider the this angle will be equal to this angle, and therefore now if I take a component of so if I take a component of FAB perpendicular to this FAE line, so which is something like this. So if I take a component here and as well as a component here, then this component is your FAB sine theta, and similarly this is FAD sine theta. So from this we can directly say, since this is perpendicular to this FAE and FAC, from here we can say that FAD will be equal to FAB, and if this is equal, then their cosine components are also going to be equal, and therefore FAE will also be equal to FAC, and therefore from this equilibrium of the spin we can say that forces in opposite members intersecting in two straight lines at a joint are equal, right? So if I have two members which are if I have two straight lines and four members connecting at that point, then we can say that this force will be equal to this force and FAC will be equal to FAE, right? So that is the one important conclusion of this special joint. And now if I consider another part of this case where the member AE, let us say the member AE is replaced by a load P. So if the vertical member AE is replaced by load P, then we can say that the load so in this case now I can say that FAB will be equal to FAD and P will be equal to FAC. So this is an extrapolation of what we have seen in the previous slide. The load here, vertical load, this load, since it is in straight line with AC, therefore the load P will be equal to FAC, and similarly FAB will be equal to FAD, right? So that is another important conclusion. Now the third important conclusion is suppose if this P is equal to 0 here, right? So there is no load which is acting here, and if P is equal to 0, then we can directly say that force in member AC will be equal to 0, and we can also say that FAD and FAB will be equal. So this is again a special joint which is all taken from this main example. And then finally, if we have if I remove the one of the link from these three members, so if I have left only, let's say FAD and FAB connected in a straight line, then here we know that FAD will be equal to FAB in this case. And suppose in the previous case, if I remove one of the link, let's say in this case AD, if I remove it, and if I have members such as this intersecting at an angle, then the force in both members should be 0 for this system to be in equilibrium. So in this case, your AD and AB, both forces will be equal to 0. FAD will be equal to FAB will be equal to 0, and in this case these two members are called zero force members because they are going to carry 0 force. Both will so that is the only condition when this system will be in equilibrium. Okay, now the method or these special joints will help us to simplify the problem in many cases. And here is one such example. So suppose I have got a roof structure, a truss, something like this, and there are various loads which are shown in this red color arrows. So if I have these loading and this truss, then we can, let's say if I consider this joint C. So if I consider the joint C, AC and CE is in straight line, BC, and there should be something here, but it is not there, right? So there is 0 force acting here, and therefore we can directly say that FBC will be equal to 0. So using the methods or the techniques we have seen, so just by visual inspection we can say that FBC will be equal to 0. So using the same logic, I can say that force in member JK will be equal to 0, because this is a straight line and this is here and there is nothing here, right? There is 0 here. So therefore FJK will be equal to 0. And if this member has 0 force, then I can again apply the same concept to node J. So in node J, this is a straight line and this is a straight line, but there is no load here. So therefore this member Fij, this will also be equal to 0. And using these methods we can get the solution more quickly. Okay, so that was about method of joints. Yeah, Ayan, you want to say something?
At point B, there is a force of 25 kilonewton. So how F of BC equals to 0?
Can you repeat your question?
At point B, there is a force of 25 kilonewton. Then how we say that F of BC equals to 0?
Force where? JK?
No, sir. F of BC.
Your sound was not clear. Or maybe can you discuss it in the discussion session, right? So let me complete the lecture.
BC, she's saying BC said at point B there is a force of 25 Newton, then
Correct. So at point BC, so I am talking about
BC is 0.
Yes, okay. So about BC, if you consider node C, we are considering the node C, and at node C, this is in a straight line, and this is another straight line, but here there is 0 force acting at C downward. So if there was a load here, then yes, this will not be equal. This will not be equal to 0. That is correct. But since there is no load acting at point C, therefore force in member BC is 0. So this is 0, that's fine. And at node B, yes, there is a load here, and there are these load exist, right? So therefore there will be loads in all these members. Okay, and more details we can discuss in the discussion section. Okay, so I'll move to the next topic, which is called as method of sections. So
Excuse
far,
me, sir.
yes, Piyush.
Sir, can you go back on the previous slide once? Sir, this technique is valid only if the 4 paths are independent, or if it will work even if points like C or E are rivets or screws, something like that.
So this method, or what we are discussing in this class we started with, is it is valid if the 4 members are in straight line. So 2 are in one straight line, the other 2 are in other straight line. Okay.
Yes, sir. I am asking whether EAC, sir.
EAC. What do you mean by EAC?
This slide, EAC, does it have to be a continuous member?
Again, your sound got disconnected. Piyush, can we?
Maybe there is
otherwise, the lecture will
am I
go
audible?
on for 1 hour, right? So let me finish the lecture for 30 minutes. Then we can have a lot of discussion.
Okay. Okay, sir.
So the next topic is method of sections, and this method is useful to get a quick solution, particularly if you want to solve for a member which is intermediate, right? So this method is when we want forces in one member or few members are required, and the method relies on drawing the free body diagram of a cut section or a region which contains multiple rigid bodies. So in method of joints, we have drawn free body diagram for the joints, for the pins, and for the individual members. But now we are going to draw the free body diagram for a region or a cut section of the which contain multiple rigid bodies connected together. So how this method works, it's something like this. Suppose I have got a truss shown in this top figure A, and we want to find forces in some members. So what we will do, we will take a cross sectional area, let us say NN, and now along this cut section we take this portion out. So we consider this left hand portion drawn separately, and we draw the free body diagram for this section here, which is a part of the structure, not the whole structure, a cut section. Now this is the free body diagram. P1, P2 are external loads, and now we have to show the exposed internal forces. So there are internal forces in member BD, BE and CE along which our cut section passes. So we draw these internal forces which are exposed, and we have to draw these internal forces which so far were not we have not drawn them so explicitly, but yeah, so this is the internal forces. And now for this section we can now solve for the internal forces. In this case there are 3 unknown forces, FBD, FBE and FCE, and we can solve for these 3 forces by writing the equilibrium equation for this cut section, right? So so that is what is the method of section is in principle. And let us quickly write down the equations here, which you can see from here, right? So in this diagram, if I want to write down the equation, a good way to start is we can write moment about point E equal to 0. So if I write the moment about point E equal to 0, then the contribution of FCE and FBE gets eliminated, and what I have is FBD multiplied by the perpendicular distances BC. This should be equal to the moment due to so this is this is clockwise, and then anti-clockwise are P1 times AB plus BD plus P2 times BD, right? So using this equation we can solve for your FBD. Similarly, you can write down the Fx is equal to 0 and Fy is equal to 0, and we can solve for FBE and FCE using this method. So this, by using this method of sections, and now since we have a system of rigid bodies, we can balance moment which was not present in the method of joints equation. So now this is quite powerful way of simplifying equations and getting just one variable, right? So now I can choose some special points. I can also balance moment about point D or point B, right? So yeah, if I balance moment about point B, I can get FCE directly. So this gives you very quick way of getting the solution. So let me write it down as well. So if I balance moment about point B is equal to 0, from here by this one equation I can directly get FCE, right? So there are various ways of getting a quick solution, and yeah, that is the method of moment. Now yeah, another trick or another advantage that can be taken from this method is you can select your own section whatever you like. So I can select section NN like this, or I can select a section, let's say KK, something like this. I can select a section, a very curved section, something like PP. So any cut can be chosen as long as the cut creates a separated section. So that is important, that you should be able to separate out the section freely and draw its free body diagram and write the moment equation, write the force balance equation, and you can solve it. Now again, that's where you have to intelligently select the section so that the number of equations and number of variables is you can solve it. So as I have said in few slides before, so for a planar case, your at most you can solve for 3 equations, right? So you have moment is equal to 0, fx is equal to 0, fy is equal to 0. So you have 3 equations, and you can solve for 3 variables. So that's the method of sections. Now let us quickly see this example of method of section with a numerical. The same problem of a transmission tower that we have seen in the last class, but now let us solve this using method of sections. Okay, can you see this one note?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So this is what we have seen in the last class, method of joints. And let us say I want to calculate FBD, right? So FBD, you can see that with lot of calculations here, we were able to calculate FDB or FBD, right? So it took us good amount of calculation to do that. Now let me open another page, copy this diagram. Okay. So let us say we want to solve the same problem using method of sections, and let's say I'm interested in member BD. So one technique, one method, what we can do is I can do a cut section, something like this, right? So if I take a section along NN, and if I take out this section out and draw the free body diagram, so let me okay. So this is the cut section, and let me represent the force by the red vectors. So this is like this. This is 1.2 kilonewton given to us. This is F. So let me number this. This is D, F, and E. So this is FEF. This is FED, and this is FAB. BD. Okay. So this is the cut section that we have chopped off from the structure and drawn the free body diagram. Now from this diagram, I can write summation of fx is equal to 0, summation of fy is equal to 0, moment equal to 0. By the way, the first thing is to count number of variables. So we have 3 unknowns, FBD, FDE, FEF. And it's a 2D truss, so it makes sense. So we have 3 unknowns, 3 variables, that's fine. And now let's write moment about point E is equal to 0. So if I write moment about point E equal to 0, then these two moments are 0. And what I'm left with is FBD multiplied by ED, which is ED in this figure. You can see it is 1.2 meters. This is equal to so this moment is anti-clockwise, and moment due to 1.2 is clockwise. So I'll write into 10 to the power 3 kilonewtons. So this 10 power 3 multiplied by the horizontal distance and this horizontal distance you can see here, it is 2.21, right? So multiplied by 2.21, and 1.2 1.2 cancel, so what I have, FBD is 2.21 kilonewtons, right? So it's quite it simplifies the method quite quickly, right? So you can see this FBD, yeah, this we were able to obtain it somewhere here, and this was it will turn out to be the same number, FBD, and this here, by this simple one line calculation, we are able to get that very quickly, right? So so this way you can do this thing very quickly, and if FBD in this section turns out to be in this way, then if I draw Sagar Kumar, can you mute yourself? Sagar Kumar, can you please mute yourself? Can one of the TAs mute Sagar? Anyway, so yeah, that's about the method of sections, and you can yeah, I was saying that this force turns out to be in the left hand direction, so if I draw for the member BD, the force is equal and opposite, so it will be something like this, and therefore BD is in tension. Now if you want to solve for other members, we can write the other equations, summation of Fx is equal to 0, summation of Fy equal to 0, and we can solve for other forces. And once these members are known, we can take some other cross section and solve for some other forces. So in this way we can solve this system. What's this? Someone is unmuted. Okay, so I'm again sharing my screen. So this was the method of sections, and that completes our analysis of truss. Sagar Kumar, who is not muted, I don't know. Okay, so that completes our analysis for the truss. And so truss had two main methods, method of sections and method of joints and method of sections, right? So that's about truss. The next topic is frames and machines. So frames, as the name suggests, that we have got, as we have seen in the definition, so frames have 3 force member or even multiple force members present, right? So for example, these figures, so let me first go to the top right corner. The top right corner is the figure of a truss, what we have seen. So in truss, the forces act, so all members are 2 force member, that is a truss. So if there are external loads, the external loads also act on the nodes or at the joints. So that is a truss. Now if the external loads act somewhere in the middle of the link, right, such as in this case, then members AC or BC, they become 3 force member, because you have forces at node A, at C, as well as in between. So these are 3 force member, and these are categorized as frames. Similarly, in this figure here you can see this is also, you'll have CF is again a 3 force member. AD is in fact a 4 force member, right? So you have multiple force member present here, So these are examples of frames. And then machines are also similar, but they can move, right? They, for example, this example of a plier that you are seeing here. So if you consider this member, so this is one rigid body, right? This is one rigid body, but it is acted by one force here. There will be another force at point A, and then there will be another force at this point. So this is a 3-force member, and similarly this body is also going to be a 3-force member. So now in this section we are going to learn how to do the analysis for such 3-force member frames and machines. Okay. Now let us start with this example of a frame, something like this. And so the first thing, so in frames there is, in one sense, there is no standard rule, right? So you can, so you have to really see and you have to check various situations. So first thing to check is, can you solve the reaction forces right from the beginning, right? So just like in the truss we have seen, classifying it as statically determinate or indeterminate. In case of frames it will be different, something which will look as indeterminate. If you see from the truss point of view, it may appear as indeterminate, but it will end up to be a determinate. And so first thing is to try from the onset. So for example, in this case you can see here there is a pin joint at A, and there is an external load W which is given, which is acting here, right? So now what are unknowns? The unknowns are the reaction forces at the pin joint A. So there is going to be AX and AY. There will be no moment because it is a pin joint, so there is no moment here. There is another tension due to the rope T, which is unknown. In this case we do not know it. So now let us see how do we solve this. Okay, so now if let's say I balance the moment about point A equal to 0. So if I balance moment about point A equal to 0, from this equation you should be able to see that I will be able to solve for the tension T. W is known, the geometry is known, and therefore from this equation we can directly solve for tension T. Now this can be solved, and then I can write summation of fx is equal to 0, summation of fy is equal to 0, and from these two equations I can solve for ax and ay, can be solved, right? So in this problem, which is a simple problem, I have 3 unknowns and I can solve it right from the beginning. So it's a very simple problem. And tensions are known, tension is known, the reaction forces are known. Now what we can do is we can go to each member separately, right? So now, so far we have seen the whole structure together. Now let us separate out the members and draw the internal forces that will act on these members. Now a very important thing that will help in the analysis of frames is to identify 2-force member. So this is a step which is very, very helpful to identify what are the 2-force member present in the system. Now in this case we know that so in this case the first thing we know is that BE is a 2-force member, and this really helps to simplify the problem. So once FBE is a 2-force member, then we can just write the FBE direction along BE. So in this case what it helps is, it helps us to know the direction of FBE is known. Okay, once FBE is known, then on member CEF I can draw this FBE equal and opposite. So I can assume this direction, right? So I have assumed this direction. So I have assumed BE to be in compression. Now if BE is in compression, then the force at node E will be equal and opposite, something like this. Similarly, on member DA or AD, FBE will be in this direction, equal and opposite. Now there are reaction forces at pin joint C, right? So at joint C there are pin reactions, and similarly at pin joint E there is reaction, but that reaction is along BE, we know that. So but C we do not know, so therefore there are two forces, CX and CY. I have assumed we have assumed it like this, and they act equal and opposite by Newton's third law as in this way on member CF, right? So after we have assumed these forces, now I can write the equations for these members. So for let us say CF, we can write summation of moment is equal to 0, and I can take any point, let's say point C. So if I write, so for CF in equilibrium, or CF to be in equilibrium, moment about point C is equal to 0, and from here I can directly solve for FBE, can be solved, right? Geometry is known, we can solve that. Then we can apply Fx is equal to 0, summation of Fy is equal to 0, and we can solve for Cx and Cy. The reaction forces at joint C can be calculated. Now once Cx and Cy are known, then I'll go to for body AD. For body AD, yeah, of course now everything is known. When you don't, yeah, if you again go to body AD, you can cross check that your we can do a cross check on reactions AX and AY, whether it is satisfying the equilibrium condition on reactions and the tension, and you will see that yes, it ends up satisfying the conditions, right? So this was a very simple problem, and that's the method by which we can solve this. So I think that's all for this lecture. Now we can have a discussion. Yeah, so any questions?